Shein, the low-cost Chinese e-commerce giant, was involved in a scandal of sex dolls that looked like children. This sparked protests, but on November 5th, Shein opened its first physical store in Paris, in one of the city's most famous department stores. The Shein store is located in the BHV Marais Department Store, occupying a 1,000 square meter space in the Marais district of Paris. On the opening day, the atmosphere outside the store was filled with strong contrasts. On one side, a large crowd of customers waited in line for hours. Meanwhile, protesters stood behind barriers, shouting, "Shameless." At the same time, the protesters also condemned Shein's destructive ultra-fast fashion business model, its poor labor conditions, and the immense environmental damage caused by the company. As customers streamed into the store, the protesters across the street shouted, "You should be ashamed." Some protesters even entered the store holding cards that emphasized that no fashion is worth the price of enslavement. On the same day, the French government announced that it was starting the process of suspending Shein's online platform services until the company proves that its content complies with French laws. This decision, announced by the French Ministry of Finance, cast a shadow over the opening of Shein's physical store and marked a new high in France's scrutiny of the company. The French government's move to suspend services followed a report on November 2nd, which revealed that the French Consumer Fraud Agency had received an anonymous tip, saying that Shein was selling dolls resembling children. This sparked strong protests in France. The case has been handed over to the judiciary for investigation, and the French government has warned that if Shein continues selling such products, it will ban the e-commerce platform from operating in France. On November 3rd, French Minister of the Economy and Finance, Roland Lescure, warned publicly that if Shein sold such dolls again, the government would block Shein's e-commerce website and ban it from the French market. He also mentioned that he had submitted a legal report on the matter and called for France's digital regulatory body, ARCOM, to investigate. ARCOM is responsible for regulating super-large platforms like Shein under the EU's Digital Services Act. Shein responded by saying it had banned all sex doll products and punished the relevant sellers. The company also announced that it had suspended its marketplace services in France. Quentin Ruffat, Shein's French spokesperson, told RMC Radio on Sep would fully cooperate with the investigation. Shein, founded in China in 2012, primarily sells affordable clothes and products made in China, but it has been heavily criticized for potential forced labor in its supply chain, including from the Xinjiang region in western China. Human rights organizations have accused Beijing of committing serious human rights violations against the Uyghur and other Muslim minority groups in Xinjiang. As Shein looks to expand from online sales to physical stores, it plans to open more locations in 5 other French cities. Shein's executive director, Donald Tang, has framed the company's expansion as a tribute to France and its fashion influence, positioning Shein as an affordable alternative to expensive French brands. The storm surrounding Shein has also caught the French department store SGM off guard. SGM is a French real estate empire and another well-known department store, Galeries Lafayette. Shein's new physical store will also open in SGM-owned stores in Dijon, Grenoble, Reims, Limoges, and Angers. According to Caixin, local department stores and clothing associations in France have been protesting since October, when news of Shein's opening broke. On October 10th, BHV Marais employees, under the call of 5 major trade unions, staged a protest against Shein's presence at the store. Several brands also announced that they would withdraw their products from BHV in response to Shein's entry. Many French cosmetics and clothing brands removed their products from BHV Marais last month. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo condemned Shein's opening at BHV, calling it a choice that goes against Paris's ecological and social vision. The French Ready-to-Wear Association accused SGM of blatantly ignoring its employees, customers, and the entire French fashion industry. The association's president, Jan Rivoalen, stated that by opening its doors to fast fashion brands, these large department stores were betraying the heritage and cultural mission they were supposed to uphold. The Galeries Lafayette Group also opposes Shein's entry into its 5 department stores in these cities, despite having sold these stores to SGM. The Galeries Lafayette Group states that Shein's fast fashion brand positioning and business model conflict with the core values and brand positioning of its stores. Frédéric Merlin, CEO of SGM, responded to the opposition by hanging a large black and white advertisement on the wall of BHV Marais. It shows him standing alongside Shein's executive director, Donald Tang, promoting the opening of Shein's global flagship store. However, he insisted on pushing forward with the collaboration, stating, "Despite the controversy and pressure, I have decided not to retract my decision." Local public opinion sees that the controversy is not just in the recent moral scandal, but in the deeper questioning of Shein's ultra-fast fashion model. An online petition against Shein's first physical store opening in Paris has gathered over 120,000 signatures. According to Reuters, opening in a historic fashion landmark in Paris has sparked strong dissatisfaction from many, including Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo. Critics accuse Shein's business model of unfair competition and undermining the local French industry. The Catholic newspaper Le Croix harshly criticized Shein. In an extremely difficult economic context, the obsession with low-cost goods and clothing is understandable, but it is undeniably frustrating. The newspaper emphasized that this business model, which promotes unlimited consumption with no regard for the environment, standards, or laws, is harmful from any perspective, and French society must collectively resist it. Reports suggest that France is actively taking steps to curb the influence of ultra-fast fashion platforms like Shein, Temu, and AliExpress. A proposed law aimed at limiting ultra-fast fashion could ban Shein from advertising in the country. The law specifically targets platforms that add over 1,000 products per day. The legislators leading this bill have stated that seeing Shein open a store in a historic building symbolizing French textiles is an unacceptable provocation. In recent years, Shein has rapidly gained global popularity with its extremely low prices, reaching annual revenues of $30 billion in 2022. Accusations of toxic clothing have followed, which is a significant reason for the rejection and disdain Shein faces within the French fashion industry. Videos shared by customers on social media are filled with accusations of toxicity in Shein's clothing. After wearing its products, some users have reported itching, red marks on the neck, large rashes, and even allergic reactions like spots appearing on their skin. 24-year-old French student Nolly Charles shared her experience, stating that a Shein dress she bought for just €10 caused large spots to appear on her back after just one night of wearing it. A dermatologist diagnosed it as being caused by high lead content in the fabric. This hellish experience has caused consumers to have serious concerns about the safety of Shein's products. Although global fashion brands like Zara, H&M, Levi's, Mango, Uniqlo, and Temu have also faced criticism for having harmful chemicals in their clothes, Liberation pointed out that Shein is even more concerning. Its clothing contains high levels of toxic substances, its production speed is extremely fast and unregulated, and it has a total lack of transparency. Its social and environmental practices are highly controversial. Frederic Michelson, the public relations manager for the French Consumer Association, UFC Quai Choisir, expressed frustration, highlighting the bigger regulatory dilemma. Customs authorities are unable to control the billions of products passing through Europe every year. The current regulatory framework is clearly insufficient, and he called for the EU to hold platforms accountable for product safety. Like other fast fashion brands, Shein's products are mainly made from plastic fibers, such as polyester and nylon. This makes the quality of the clothing poor, easy to break, and seen as disposable items. In August last year, tests by the professional publication Oikotest revealed that some Shein products contained large amounts of toxic chemicals. Out of 21 products tested, more than two-thirds failed, including items across women's, men's, youth, and baby clothes. According to the test results, most Shein products failed to meet quality standards. With the best-rated items, harmful substances were detected, including antimony, dimethylformaldehyde, lead, cadmium, and phthalates. Notably, 2 pairs of sandals were found to contain excessive amounts of lead and cadmium, and women's sandals contained phthalates that could harm reproductive organs. In South Korea, Seoul City government also tested products sold by Shein and other cross-border e-commerce platforms, discovering numerous issues. For example, 1 pair of women's underwear from Shein was found to have 2.9 times the allowed limit of carcinogens, and 2 lipsticks contained Staphylococcus aureus. Additionally, 4 nail products were found to have nickel levels exceeding the allowed limit by 97.4 times. Furthermore, the Seoul City government found that 3 types of paper straws sold by Shein contained harmful substances above the safety limit, with 1 type exceeding the limit by up to 43.3 times. These straws contained substances like PET, polyethylene terephthalate, and acrylic resin. Another cross-border e-commerce platform was found to be selling 10 cotton swabs, 6 of which exceeded the bacterial colony count standard by as much as 36.7 times. Shein has faced continuous negative publicity due to false advertising and has been fined multiple times by EU regulatory bodies. On July 3rd, the French antitrust authority, DGCCRF, announced that Shein had been involved in commercial fraud, including misleading offers such as price hikes before discounts. The DGCCRF found that 57% of Shein's advertised promotions did not offer lower prices as claimed. The agency fined Shein €40 million, a decision approved by Paris prosecutors, which Shein has accepted. The DGCCRF conducted an investigation on thousands of products on Shein's French website from October 1, 2022 to August 31, 2023. It discovered that 57% of the advertised deals did not provide actual price reductions. 19% had discounts lower than advertised, and 11% were more expensive than the advertised price. After nearly a year of investigation, it was confirmed that Shein had used deceptive business practices, particularly in relation to its discount prices. It raised prices before offering discounts. The DGCCRF stated, "These large discounts and constant promotions led customers to believe they were receiving significant deals." Shein entered the French market in 2015, and its business has grown rapidly in recent years. In 2021, it had a 2% share of the French footwear and apparel market, which grew to 3% by last year. This is considered a significant share in such a fragmented market. Following the French antitrust fine, the Italian government followed suit. On August 4th, Italy's competition authority, AGCM, fined Shein €1 million for misleading claims about product characteristics and environmental impact. AGCM stated that Shein's claims regarding product recycling and sustainability were false or at least misleading. The description of Shein's Evolution by Design series may lead customers to believe the products were made with sustainable materials and were fully recyclable, which was not the case. AGCM also stated that Shein's messages about environmental sustainability and social responsibility were sometimes vague, general, or overly emphasized, and at times contained omissions or misleading information. On October 15th, Italian government sources revealed to Reuters that Italy plans to impose additional tariffs on certain Chinese fast fashion brands' imported goods to protect the domestic fashion industry. A source who wished to remain anonymous said the move was aimed at preventing unfair competition in Italy's key industries. Italian Industry Minister Adolfo Urso, after meeting with fashion industry representatives in Rome, stated, "We will present a measure to tackle the ultra-fast fashion phenomenon, an invasion of low-cost foreign products that damage our producers and put consumers at risk." The source said that the government plans to intervene by adopting measures outlined in the EU's Extended Producer Responsibility Directive. The report suggests that Italy may impose this fee on Chinese fast fashion brands like Temu and Shein. On one side, there are people waiting in line for cheap goods, and on the other, there are protesters who feel the fashion capital of the world is being desecrated. In the midst of scandal, Shein boldly opened a store in the heart of Paris, at a fashion landmark. This emotional and ideological divide reflects the current, particularly European, ambivalence towards Chinese products. However, the true balance will ultimately be found between the allure of cheap goods and the price that must be paid for them. As Shein continues to challenge people's moral boundaries and emotional limits, when people eventually realize the physical and psychological harm it causes, the attraction of cheapness will no longer hold any appeal.